Hello, beautiful souls. Today's episode is so good. And before we jump in, I have some exciting news to share. If you've ever wondered where you're blocking money, this is for you. I've created a free quiz to diagnose your money wounds so you can heal them and unblock yourself to receive more money. Just go to moneywoundsquiz.com and answer 6 quick questions to get your insanely accurate and potent results. And if you're loving my vibe and want to work one-on-one to call in more feminine energy wealth, I would love to hear from you. You can shoot me a DM on social media or go to emilywilcox.com to learn more. Hello, and welcome back to the M Makes Money show. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you will see that I have a little holiday setup going in my background, and it is giving me so much life. It's like some pink blush colored pampas fronds, and then those little like bottle brush style Christmas trees, also in like a blush pink color. I highly recommend, by the way, switching up your Zoom background and making it pretty. Like, I know virtual backgrounds are a thing, but I get so many compliments on my background. It is unbelievable, especially actually from big brands, clients that are looking at hiring our agency. So I think it really is a vibe. There is an ROI attached to it, not to mention the fact that it will just make you so much happier. So if you're someone that's doing video calls, if you're doing teaching on your computer, it's like you're spending a fair bit of time looking at yourself and whatever is behind you. So make it beautiful. It is such a worthwhile investment. All right, I am coming at you today with my October recap. So going through the celebrations and stretches that October brought us. First off, I kicked off the month while flying back from New Mexico from our trip to the Hot Air Balloon Festival, but then basically went right into my Rise retreat in Palm Springs, California. And this was a wealth activation themed retreat, and it was so phenomenal. The house was absolutely gorgeous. It was this mini estate in the movie colony district of Palm Springs. And if you don't know Palm Springs, it's this desert oasis, and there are many celebrities and movie industry folks that would escape to the desert. There's a thriving gay community out there, and it was a place of like full self-expression and liberation, even in a time when that wasn't as socially acceptable. And it was a place where people with money went to get away. So it has all kinds of wealth codes in it. And I love that it's like a desert landscape, right? Where we would traditionally think about scarcity or like lack of water, lack of vibrancy. But the city to me feels so vibrant. There's beautiful mid-century modern architecture. There's gorgeous mountains set with beautiful palm trees and pools. And so there's just like all of this beautiful contrast to play with. And the retreat just was so fantastic. I'm obsessed with every single one of the women who came. All of the experiences were so curated to allow them to just play in the wealthier version of themselves and really embody her and get to know her. And what does she look like? And what does she sound like? And how does she show up in her business and in her life? And I don't want to share all of the secret sauce. I mean, maybe I should, since we already had the retreat and I don't typically repeat things, but there's something about it that feels so special and sacred that I'm not convinced that words would do it justice. So I think I actually may keep some of it private at this point, but it was incredibly expansive. And even the photographer that I had come to do full shoots for each of these women, she was just blown away. Like, tell me all about this retreat. What are you doing here? And I love that we get to also be an expansive example of what's available for these other women entrepreneurs who are supported through the retreat experience. So it was an epic way to kick off the month. And I will say, After that, it felt so delicious to have more spaciousness in my schedule. The Palm Springs retreat kind of marked the end of probably a 6-week sprint of a fair bit of travel for Jeff and I, and just a lot going on in our schedule. And so to be able to relax into more spaciousness and just have weekends at home and not have so much on the calendar felt really good and really so necessary. I also had a one-on-one client who renewed with me for a whole year. That is just the gift beyond gift when it's like a soulmate client who you absolutely love to work with. And they're like, I want to work with you for another year. Sign me up. Like, there is nothing better to me than having the intimacy and the depth and going through the seasons and the cyclicality of life and business together for such a long time. So that felt like an incredible, incredible gift. I also crossed 10,000 podcast downloads in October. So you guys know this is something that I've been talking about. And again, we have over 5,000 watches on YouTube as well. So really the number is like 15,000, which is just unbelievable. And yes, I know there are podcasts that a year in are at way more than 10,000 downloads. But for me, this feels just absolutely expansive and incredible. And I'm so grateful that I get to show up here. And I'm so grateful that all of you are enjoying it and tuning in. So watching that number grow is just something so exciting. And who knows where we'll be another year from now. Okay, so I want to jump down to some stretches because, as we know, a month never just holds the good. There's always something that's stretching us or creating a challenge, a lesson, an opportunity. And for me in October, there were 2 things. Number one, I had a client feel a little wobbly about the container that she was investing in. And it's honestly the first time that that's actually happened in my business. And so, although I've witnessed it happen for many other women that I've been in a mastermind with, and I felt so strong in the way that I sell and the way that I make offers and the clarity around that of what you're committing to, both verbally and on the sales page and in the terms and conditions, there's no part of me that's trying to get someone to say yes and then they have a gotcha moment later of not realizing what they committed to. Like, everything is very, very clear and spelled out. So that part I felt really good about. Nevertheless, it always feels really challenging when there's someone that you love and care about and that you feel like is, such a perfect match to a space and really contributing to a space. And then they're having their own kind of internal question about that. Thankfully, we were able to resolve it with both of us really feeling quite good about continuing, but it was certainly a stretch for me. And it was also a reminder of how important boundaries are in your business. So in this instance, I happened to check my Voxer and I saw a private message from this person, and they're not in a container that includes private Voxer. But that happens every once in a while where my clients will private Voxer me about something, and it's never turned into an issue where I've really had to set a boundary. It's usually like something logistical or just some random thing that's come up. So I looked at it and then saw the message of her questioning the space that she was in. And I was upset seeing that, but I was also upset with myself because I didn't honor my own boundary. Like, I chose to look at that message at a time when I really needed to be in a peak mental state for other clients that I was working with and delivering things for at that time. And I crossed my own boundary of there not being private Voxer access and looking at it at a time when there was no time sensitivity to that message. And it was outside of the boundaries of the container. And so I'm sharing this because I do find that we often want other people to respect our boundaries when we're not respecting them ourselves. And we often think about, gosh, just what could go right, but not necessarily what could go wrong. Right. So, what I mean by that is like, I don't check Voxer on the weekends. And sometimes my clients still share beautiful things over the weekend. And of course, I'm tempted to check, right? Because I want to be celebrating with them and I want to find out what's going on in their life. But the thing is that when you cross that boundary, because you're just thinking like, oh, this will be fun and I want to participate, what you're also opening yourself up to is that you might listen to a message where something really heavy is happening for that person. And that may totally change your energetic state and your mood over the weekend when you're doing something with your family or your kids need you. And so when we open up that door, we aren't always thinking about what we're opening it up to. And so it really is a gift for everyone to just honor the boundary. It's like, I don't check Voxer on the weekends so that when I am in Voxer, I'm 100% there for you. Like I am there, whether it's the good, bad, or the ugly, I can hold it, I can handle it, I can walk you through it. But if I weren't honoring that for myself and I were trying to stay plugged in all of the time, then I might be riding an emotional roller coaster with you. And that doesn't really serve anyone. So that scenario was very much a stretch for me in October. And also, I'm so glad that it happened because it was bound to at one point or another. And I do believe that as coaches, we get better through our own experiences. And so now I have more experience if one of my clients goes through something similar. The other stretch that I had in October was that I discovered that my bank had stopped auto transferring money for no apparent reason and without any notification. So I'm assuming that they'd made some tech upgrades and maybe that was what caused it, but there was no notification. And so we have auto transfers that go out for rent, for our house cleaning ladies. We have send some money to Jeff's mom every month, and all of that stopped without us noticing. And so I didn't catch it until it was like 6 weeks later. And my stomach totally dropped because, of course, during that 6 weeks, we were just spending money that was available, not realizing that there was actually too much available to spend because money didn't go out for some of these important things. And to be honest with you, I had a moment, kind of one of those pivotal moments where it's like, am I going to behave in an old identity or a new identity? So my old identity may have tried to wait and see if they asked about it or questioned it because, of course, the landlord also wasn't reaching out to say, hey, you're past due on rent. What happened here? And our housekeepers hadn't reached out about that. And so there was a part of me for a minute that was like, ooh, maybe we can just let this slide. And I thought, wait, is that congruent with who I am and who I want to be? Like, would I be proud of acting that way? Is that the way that wealthy me acts in these situations? And so I was pretty quickly able to realize like, no. This is where you take accountability and ownership and you clean it up and make it right. And so I, of course, reached out to each of the parties and said, hey, I just recognized that this happened. I'm so sorry. I want to get your bank account reconnected with our automatic bill pay system and get you a back payment and get things all squared away. And of course, each one of them was so grateful and thankful and, understanding and was really appreciative that I reached out in advance and was on top of it. So the stretch was like, it definitely felt like a lot of money leaving all at once to be like $6,000 here, $600 here, all of that. But I was really proud of myself for so quickly aligning with this wealthier identity for myself and acting in accordance with her. Other celebrations from October included us moving forward with some of our Airbnb plans in a very tangible way and having a booking in place and getting some preparations done for that. We also added $14,000 in new monthly recurring revenue to the agency, which felt amazing. And we did a desert camping trip. This is something that we've been doing for 5 years now. It was the 5th annual trip where we go out to the desert the weekend before Halloween. We do dirt bikes, the kids ride quads, they rock climb. We just enjoy the great outdoors, and we bring Halloween costumes. And so on the Saturday night, the kids trick or treat around all of the RVs, and they just have a blast. And, living in Southern California where we don't have tons of open land, it's really great to drive a couple hours out into the desert where it's just wide open spaces and the kids can just be kids and they can play and they use their imaginations and they're not on screens. And JJ has gotten so much better on his dirt bike. It's amazing what the passing of time will do, as he's growing bigger and more capable. And so he would want Jeff or I to drive around on the 110 and he would follow us along on his 50 with training wheels on it. And it was just really, really cute. I think that kid was like literally on something motorized for like 12 hours out of the day. It was pretty epic. We also did some really fun sports stuff with the kids in October. It was like great to see the kids scoring goals in soccer and Faye, getting hits in softball and just, feeling like, man, these are the days. There'll be a time when we look back and think, wasn't it so beautiful to have our weekends filled with kids' sports activities? So we really sank into the gratitude and the fun and the playfulness of all of the sports stuff that was available to us in October. I got the photos back from the Palm Springs photo shoot and was so freaking obsessed. Not just for me, but for every one of my clients. Like the pictures turned out beyond my wildest dreams. I used my favorite photographer. I love her so much. She is an incredible talent. Her name is Ashley Strong Smith. And she just has an incredible eye for things. She posed us in beautiful ways. She captured the light in just gorgeous, gorgeous, goddessy ways. I could not stop looking at those photos, and I've been sharing them on social media. So if you are friends with me on Facebook or Instagram, you will see so many of Ashley's gorgeous photos shared on my feed. And lastly, I'm celebrating that in October, I had 2 clients celebrate their best months ever. So I had one client have a $50,000 cash month for the first time, and another client have a $44,000 cash month for the first time. And I came up with really fun gifts to send them that help anchor in those important milestones. So just know that when you work with me and you cross new milestones and new achievements, you will get something really fun and personalized to help anchor it in. So my numbers for October was $107,748 cash collected. That was $89,745 from the agency, $1,105 from ecom, and $16,898 from coaching. My coaching business is about to cross $200,000 cash for the year, which is also just like, an amazing what the heck kind of moment. But that's going to happen in October. So we will be celebrating that the next time you hear me on one of these episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the show. You the best. If you ever have any feedback on these episodes, which ones you like the best, what you'd like to hear more of, please slide into my DMs and I would love to hear from you. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Before you go, I have something fun to share. Now, when you leave a review of the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, take a quick screenshot and send it to hi@emilywilcox.com. You'll be entered into a drawing to win a free one-on-one Voxer coaching day with me, and you help the show reach more new listeners. Such a win-win. I also invite you to follow me on Instagram at mmakesmoney and to jump into my free Telegram community, The Money Club, which is linked in the show notes. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.